You know, from the deepest, darkest forests to the weirdest corners of the internet, North America is just teeming with tales of creatures that, well, they defy explanation. These aren't just stories, they're legends that have been passed down for generations. They might change a little here and there, but they never really go away. So tonight, let's step into those shadows together. It's a question we've all asked, right? What's that sound just beyond the campfire light? What's that shape you see in the corner of your room? See, these stories are way more than just spooky tales. They're kind of like a mirror, reflecting our oldest, most primal fears. So we're going to dive into 5 of the most famous and, honestly, most unsettling legends from all across the continent. And we're going to count them down, starting with a pretty modern menace and ending with a terror that's truly ancient. Okay, so our journey starts with 2 very different kinds of monsters. One of them stalks lonely farmlands, and the other, well, the other one might just follow you home.
All right, coming in at number 5, we've got a creature whose name alone is enough to scare farmers from Puerto Rico all the way to the American Southwest.
That's right, it's El Chupacabra. The name literally means the goat sucker. And believe me, it earned that name. This cryptid is blamed for a whole string of really mysterious and gruesome livestock deaths. What's so wild about this one is how recent it is. The legend just exploded onto the scene in Puerto Rico back in 1995, and its MO is unmistakable. Farmers find their animals completely drained of blood, usually through just a couple of small puncture wounds. Now, what it looks like, that's up for debate. Some people describe a reptilian beast with spikes down its back, others say it's more like a weird, hairless dog. But the one detail that almost always comes up, those glowing red eyes.
All right, let's move on to our number 4 spot. This one is totally different. It leaves the farm behind and comes right into your bedroom.
Meets the Rake. Now, while a lot of these legends have ancient roots, this one is a child of the digital age. It's basically folklore that was born on the internet, which honestly doesn't make it any less terrifying. The real horror of the Rake is all psychological. It's described as this pale, hairless, humanoid thing that shows up at the foot of your bed in the middle of the night. And it just watches you. It doesn't have to attack. Just being there is enough to cause some serious, lasting trauma. It's a perfect example of how folklore is evolving, where the proof is usually some grainy, super creepy picture from a trail cam that gets shared online, totally blurring that line between a story and what might be real.
Okay, for our number 3, we're leaving the internet way behind and we're heading deep into the frozen north, where a really ancient and terrible spirit is waiting.
At number 3, we have a legend that's rooted in something incredibly real, the desperation that comes with trying to survive. The Wendigo. In this thing, it isn't just a monster. It's a powerful cautionary tale, a malevolent spirit that's born from one of the ultimate human taboos.
So this story comes from the folklore of the Algonquian peoples, and it's tied directly to the brutal, unforgiving winters in the northern forests. The legend says that if a person resorts to cannibalism to survive, they can become possessed by the Wendigo spirit. They're transformed into this tall, skeletal, gaunt giant that has a never-ending hunger for human flesh. This idea is so powerful, it actually led to a recognized condition called Wendigo psychosis, an overwhelming craving for human flesh. But you know what the most terrifying part is? It can perfectly mimic human voices. It can call out your name or cry for help just to lure you deeper into the woods.
So we just heard about a monster that lures you to your doom. Now let's talk about one that shows up before doom strikes. A winged omen that was seen in the skies over West Virginia. Our number 2 spot goes to one of the most famous cryptids in all of American history. It's a creature that's forever tied to a very real, very tragic event. The Mothman. See, people didn't really see it as an attacker. It was more like a silent prophet of disaster, a dark omen. If you saw it, it meant something awful was on its way. The whole story kicks off in 1966 in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. For over a year, people all over town reported these bizarre encounters with a huge 7-foot-tall winged figure with these massive glowing red eyes. Then, on December 15, 1967, the town's Silver Bridge tragically collapsed right during rush hour traffic. 46 people died. And after that disaster, the Mothman was gone. It was never seen again, which is what forever cemented its legacy as this harbinger of doom. And now we've arrived at number 1. This legend isn't really about a monster or a spirit. It's about a human being who has chosen a path of very dark, very immense power.
But before we reveal it, there's a really important distinction to make. We just talked about the Wendigo, right? That's a spirit that possesses a person, often against their will. Our number one spot is about a human who chooses this dark path, a witch who actively seeks out the power to transform. Taking the top spot on our list of North American legends is a shapeshifter straight out of Navajo tradition, the Skinwalker. In Navajo culture, this is a figure of absolute terror. It's a medicine man or woman who has decided to use their power for pure evil. The Navajo name for it is Yi Nald Lo Shi, which roughly translates to, by means of it, it goes on all fours. This is a topic so feared that many Navajo people won't even talk about them because they believe that just speaking their name invites their attention. Their terrifying power is what sets them apart. These evil witches can actually transform into or disguise themselves as an animal, usually so they can travel fast and cause harm. And while the legend is known in many places, the sightings seem to be heavily concentrated in one specific spot, the Uinta Basin in Utah. This area, especially a piece of property that's now famous as Skinwalker Ranch, is notorious. It's been called a hotspot for shapeshifters, UFOs, and bulletproof wolf-like creatures. It's a place where high strangeness isn't just an old story, it's a documented, ongoing thing. So from goat suckers to shapeshifters, it really makes you wonder, why do we keep telling these stories? In our modern, scientific world, why do these shadows refuse to go away? Well, maybe it's because they still serve a purpose. They give a face and a name to the creepy noises in the night, to our fear of the deep, dark woods, and even to the darkness that can exist inside of us. They're a way for us to try and make sense of a world that, a lot of the time, doesn't make any sense at all. And that just leaves us with one last thing to think about. With these new frontiers, like the internet creating monsters like the Rake, it really makes you wonder, what are the fears and anxieties of our time that are shaping the monsters of tomorrow? What legends are being born right now?